Good morning. It's sort of like about 6:30, I think. So that for me has been quite a lay-in. How are we all? Looked a bit wonky. Never mind. I wanted to talk a bit about this book. Yes, it's in Mirror, I know. I'm crap. The Art of War, supposedly by Sun Tzu. Or Sun Tzu. This is an edition very nicely put together, I must admit. Translated by Samuel B. Griffith. I've no idea who he is. I'm just, putting the name out there. Wonderfully illustrated on occasion. Divided into all the proper stanzas and everything with background history. I wanted to talk about its relevance to modern life. The whole quintessential idea seems to be don't fight a war unless you have to. Unless there is no other option. Smoke and mirrors, shadow tactics, and sabotage can prevent a war from happening in the first place. And this is something metaphorically I'm not very good at. I will metaphorically go to war at the drop of a hat because I don't have the patience for the long game. It's why I've never been any good at chess. It is a book that is written to teach patience in conflict situations. And it also teaches one of the little tips, learn patience. Sit by a river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by. So in other words, what it's saying is let karma do it. Unfortunately, I don't know whether the times were different when it was written, but these days karma seems to take its sweet time and it never seems to catch up with certain people. And what I've got to realise is the world doesn't work the way I want it to. And that is perhaps another one of my biggest flaws. Because I have some very singular ideas and concepts about honour, truth, justice, loyalty, and they do not fit with the modern world at all. But okay, in modern life, I've learned not to expect those kind of concepts. But when it comes to, say, a Viking reenactment group, I expect concepts such as loyalty, honour, integrity, truth, justice to be adhered to. If the leader of the group wants that, which in my last case they did, and yet someone, in my opinion, was not treating those concepts seriously. And certain people were not treating the whole thing seriously, because, no disrespect to LARPers, but it's not LARP, okay? Bruises and minor injuries, hopefully not major ones, are going to happen. And this is a problem. I don't think it's specifically with the younger generations, because it's not. I know people older than me that seem to adhere to these kind of rules. Standing up for yourself, especially if it's in an aggressive manner, and it will make people walk away from you and disassociate themselves from you. I think as a society, we've been conditioned to bow and scrape and do what we're told. That, well, it rubs me up the wrong way, to be quite honest. I do what I'm told by people I respect, and there are very few of them. Very few. Someone I used to respect tried to spoil my afternoon out yesterday by rigorously sticking to their own principles when everybody else had basically forgotten about a certain incident, where I verbally, aggressively defended myself from attack. An actually quite vicious, angry verbal attack from a woman. And according to him, I should have just bowed and scraped and not verbally bit back. I'm sorry, no. You attack me, I don't turn the other cheek. Basically, this person who's now left the area, I sat down in a local pub and at tea time. I'd had a few drinks, but not that many. And I was with my partner and one or two friends and this former friend who now just doesn't talk to me over this issue. I think it's been rather hypocritical considering some of his behaviours in the past towards women, actually. And someone who I'd supported for years, who'd been quite a close friend on occasions, basically she was very drunk, basically turned around and said, "I need you to leave." And everybody's like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" I was like, "Just sat down. Just bought a pint. Don't think I'm going anywhere, thank you very much." Because I thought initially it was banter. But then again, this person has never been very good at banter, so I think that's why a lot of people were taking it a bit more seriously than I was. She repeated it, and then basically when I yet again deflected it, she said, "We need to talk," and basically dragged me into the pub where she turned around and said, "I hate you and I need you to leave." And I thought, no, I was sitting there with friends and my partner said, "No, I want you to leave. I hate you." And I was like, "Well, if you can't deal with it, you can fuck off." And that's when I got banned. Well, I got banned for after she'd left, saying I'm not the one who's behaving like a cunt. Yes, I used a bad word that no one likes. I should have phrased that better. So the upshot was I got banned and I'm apparently a bad guy. Everybody else seems to have forgotten about it, but a certain friend who was at a musical event in the park yesterday, can't apparently, he sat down with at the place I'd already sat down with associated friends because we still have a lot of mutual friends. So therefore, I mean, had I seen him, had it been the other way around, I would have found some other people to sit and chat with. You know, I thought, oh, I don't want to deal with this. But no, he chose to sit with myself and associated friends. Eventually, he just couldn't help. I could see it was coming. You know, he had that look on his face where you know he was wanting to say something, and eventually he did. And when I disagreed with him, he got angry and basically started challenging me to a fight, so I got up and left. Funny enough, an awful lot of people who'd been, I'll stop scratching that, who'd been around at that time, they drifted away too. And he was left with a lot fewer people sitting around him than he had. So I think maybe he's feeling what I'm feeling, but in a different way, because I don't think he quite understands. And it's not his fault, because he's had brain damage. And he's always had problems, but that doesn't excuse behaving like that in public. I don't use my mental health conditions as an excuse for bad behaviour in public. I own it. I know I behave badly in public at times. I know the effect it has on people. Doesn't mean I can control it in certain circumstances. It's still probably going to happen. Admitting to it is a step forward. I'm not right to behave like that. But you know, when someone is aggressively attacking you or threatening something you love, or I still have an instinct for direct action. That, unfortunately, is just what I'm conditioned to, for whatever you want to call it. It's a problem. I know it is. I no longer view it in the self-righteous way I did 30 odd years ago. Oof. The mistakes I made. I think I probably mentioned this before in other videos, but you know, back then, every minor conflict was the hill I was choosing to die on. Socially, I'm talking. These days, especially if the ground doesn't look favourable, metaphorically speaking, I walk away. There is no point. There's no point in fighting against overwhelming odds where you know pretty much you're going to lose. Just on a point of honour, you walk away. The most current conflict, I simply mistook the nature of the ground. I mistakenly thought I had the tactical advantage. Oh boy, was I wrong. I thought I was doing what a certain person wanted me to do. I thought I was doing it in their name. It's because this person looks very differently to me. But I have a lot of respect for him. When he, you see right up my nose probably. when he would tell me what to do or his vision of the group, I would listen. Because he gave me respect, and I mirror back the way people treat me. I mean, there's some people, and yeah, they are relevant, but I don't name names. They act all flowery and overly like they respect you, but they don't. It's merely play acting as far as they're concerned. There's no real integrity behind it. And I can sniff that kind of falseness from a mile away. And that is my problem with a certain person in the group. And this is the kind of thing I've always struggled with. I didn't want it to turn into a struggle for dominance and power. Unfortunately, that's what human beings are. Well, I like to think there are some of us who've progressed beyond that. I haven't, simply because of the nature of my upbringing. Ultra-competitive, male-dominated household. That came from an ultra-competitive, male-dominated household. So it was 2 generations of competitive, male-dominated households that ended up resulting in the way I behave. My father had 3 brothers, 1 older, the other 2 younger. Now, he didn't spend that much time around them as a kid because he was shipped off to one boarding school after another. RAF child. Christmases were a nightmare if they all got together, because they would all go drinking. You know, we're talking the time I really knew what alcohol was all about. I think maybe occasionally I'd try something Grimace. So we're talking maybe 13, 14. Times were different then. These days, 13, 14-year-olds are probably smoking crack and drinking from 12, you know, and then having babies at 15. But traditional Christmas games were banned because you got a lot of them playing a game. They would argue, and eventually it would turn into a wrestling match. The board game would go flying, you know. Yeah. And then, of course, there was me, my younger brother, and my dad, and my mum. And my father was always very, over-competitive dad. Not the kind of father who'd let you win. So basically, the family just wouldn't play board games together. It got to the stage in my house where the traditional family Sunday dinner never happened. Parents would be in the front room, me and my brother would be in the kitchen, because us all sitting at the table together would usually go wrong. Either me and my brother would start arguing, which would set me dad off, or me dad would have issue with something one of us was doing. So yeah, And this is why I tend to be overly sensitive to when someone is trying to exclude me, keep me in the dark, or push me out. Because I've been subject to that kind of thing all my life, so I'm very sensitive to it and very aware of it. Sometimes overly aware, admittedly. Yeah, the issues with board games appears to have been cleared up. I mean, I go to a games night every fortnight and I really enjoy playing with people. I don't care if I lose. Because these are games that I've never played before apart from anything else. So I have no expertise in them. And it's just a learning experience and a fun learning experience. Same with me and my own partner. We play board games on a regular basis, I think, these days. And it's always enjoyable. I'm still wary of ever playing Magic the Gathering with her again, because the first time we played each other, she was rusty, but she used to be really good. And by sheer fluke, I ended up beating her, and she threw a card down in disgust. Unfortunately, it caught the wind, and it went... I nearly became Odin over a card game. Oh, I don't have his wisdom, though. But I'm learning. I believed in what the group were doing. I don't know if my expulsion is going to be permanent. I've been reassured that hopefully it won't be. But I have my doubts. A very generous friend, providing things go his way within the next year, has offered to provide me the financial backup to start my own group. I already know what the name theme will be. Sons of Loki, something like that. And I will form it into a bunch of misfits. And people who are viewed as monsters, but aren't. I may take a new name. Fenris. The Dreadwolf. A lot of people seem to think that's what I am anyway. So it may as well embrace that. But who knows what the future holds. We cannot guarantee anything. But Jason, the former leader of the Ormsguard, did predict that one day I would run my own reenactment group. It will probably be exactly the same way that the Raven Guard started. You know, there'll only be about 3 of us if we're lucky to begin with. I know how it goes. Got to find a training venue. To begin with, it will just be the little space outside out back of my garage, mate. All things start small. And, you know, if we have to use rubber weapons in the park, we have to use rubber weapons in the park. Or wood. Sticks are good. But it's something I'm considering. Because my faith in the whole situation with, I'll say for the former group I was part of, is steadily eroding the longer things don't get sorted out. Which is sad. I hope the leader manages to sort through this shit and work something out. Because I miss it. I love reenactment training. I love training and teaching people combat skills. I love fighting. Obviously not to harm. There is a competitive edge, there always will be. But not to the extent where someone gets seriously injured. That is not our goal. Never has been and never will be. I think that's all I'm going to say today, this morning. I think I've got a few things off my chest. This went wildly off of the topic I was going to be talking about. In fact, this whole video, it's been one huge tangent. Yeah, it has. Peace.